Hi, my name is Alicia Young, and this is the presentation of my ePortfolio. I am a non-degree seeking student, and this is my final presentation for my leadership certification. So I'm going to start out by sharing just a few, not all, of the activities for my district leadership activities. This one is a video about the district's mission and strategic plan. I have this here. I created it. I think it would be great to put on a website. It really aligns nicely with Standard 1, and this would be a great way to communicate with all stakeholders and provide a positive image of the district and my school. I'd like to share this one because this one came about because of the COVID crisis. Standard number 2, ethics and professional norms. This particular situation came about with all of the virtual meetings. I created some virtual team meeting norms, and that needed to be basically shared across the district at the district level to really assist folks in working from home on those distance learning opportunities. So this was a nice opportunity to jump in and create something that was going to be professional and help leaders and teachers and students meet virtually for the first time, because I know how important it is to have norms in regular meetings, so it became even more important to have them in our virtual meetings. Here I have some examples of a training that I do at the beginning of the school year. I did it this year in August for new teachers, and it was really about the equitable practices of classroom management, and provided the training to new hires using the positive behavior approaches so that all students, despite the diversity and mobility, have the opportunity to learn appropriate behavior. So I have some examples from the training here. I'd also like to share another piece that I did. I have a picture here of some folks that are collaborating. I did a district level training on how to grade and assess standards and employability skills of students. And so this is a new piece. It's going to be rolling out in our secondary world next year. And so I took the opportunity to create some trainings and wanted to share that and highlight that here for Standard 4 Learning and Instruction. And so each one of my highlights are linked to a PowerPoint training that supports this particular standard and that activity. I also want to highlight this one. This was an awesome one for operations and management. I learned so much. I went to the Educate Teachers Retention Summit. Here, this was a great opportunity for teachers and leaders across the state to collaborate on recruiting, hiring, and retaining teachers. We got to hear from leaders in Colorado, as well as the director of Workforce One. For the first time in history, we collaborated with that director to focus on recruiting and hiring and retaining teachers in Kansas. And so this was a really awesome opportunity. I love this presentation. I made it for a particular class, but it's about collaborative school culture. It's so important to have high functioning teams. And so for standard number 7, building professional capacity, I know that you build professional capacity through high functioning teams is one way. And so I wanted to include that presentation here. So that concludes the district activities that I'd like to highlight. I'll move on to the secondary activities and share a few of those with you. This first one, this is a pretty in-depth activity. It's mission, vision, and improvement. And so it starts out, it's titled School Improvement Support. We started out at the beginning of the year by looking at data and working through a process of setting goals based on the data. I used a process from a book called 4 Disciplines of Execution to help the teachers think differently about school improvement and setting goals. I then met with the building principal and the instructional coach regularly to follow up and keep the focus on the goals of the staff. So I have some artifacts over here to kind of show the follow-up activities when we met with during professional development. We charted and posted some data for this is a first grade team here. We looked at their data. They then looked at their standards and brainstormed strategies and ways to assess the students. And you can see them doing that work here. So this was followed up with throughout the year in order to unpack the standards and plan for instruction and assess it and meet the needs of the school improvement goals as well at the same time. So I have that as an example here. I'll highlight this one quickly. We know that it's so important to have to be reflective in this work and to be a leader that's reflective. So I have a coaching conversation map here. This is something that I use to help others reflect as well as myself. And I have a picture of one of my coaches that I meet with regularly for reflective conversations. This particular activity was a meeting with the HR department. This was awesome. It helped me define the role of the coach when they are kind of moving out of the coaching role and moving into a more of an assistive process participant and helping a teacher that is struggling. And so this was a great opportunity for me to grow and learn, and I want to be sure that all coaches and teachers understand the role of the coach when a teacher is put into the assistive process and the confidentiality and how that might change from the regular relationship. These are all activities that I have shared before through my coursework. So I'll just share that I included those because I think they were very helpful and I learned a lot from those. And they really are all about special ed. So I have lots of activities here. I will share this one. This was a great opportunity that I had to generate some support reports for teachers using conditional formatting. My kindergarten and first grade teachers I was working with could just at a glance look at this data and determine what standards needed to be retaught during core and what needed to be retaught during a small group and differentiated for those students. So I wanted to include this activity for learning and instruction. The teachers really walked away feeling motivated and empowered to meet the needs of the students. Let's see. This is an activity that I made. It's a video. I love it. It's so much fun. I think it would be great to share with staff at the beginning of the year or really any time of the year, and also post on the website for parents. It's about parents' rights for special ed, and so it's just a great reminder in a fun, lighthearted way to share the information. I'll share this one, building professional capacity. I love this activity. This is kind of stemmed from one of the activities I did in my leadership class with analyzing the compass points personality types. So I took it a step further. I had the staff do the assessment, and then they did a compass points activity from a book called Groups at Work, where they identified their group's strengths and also they took a look at what those things in their group were their own personal limitations and how they might need to stretch to work with other groups that they might think were more of an opposite personality type. This was a very powerful activity and I did it in order to promote a positive school culture, and you could really feel the difference. We posted their charts, and they would refer to them often. The teams had a lot of fun with learning about one another, and it really strengthened the culture of the school. We'll go ahead and go on to the next activity, which is the secondary, and we'll take a look at some of the activities there that I'd like to highlight. So with secondary, I included a case study here. I really appreciated the opportunity to be able to include a case study for mission, vision, and improvement for secondary. This case study was nice because it really posed a challenge in thinking about those staff and those folks on the leadership team that are very, very determined, very passionate about what they do, and how you can navigate and maintain a working relationships with those challenging staff members. So I added that. I want to talk a little bit about this one. This is new and different. In its under standard number 2, ethics and professional norms, I titled this continuous learning plan guidelines. So during the COVID crisis, all of us are working from home and our students are on this extended learning, continuous learning opportunity from home. But our teachers had no information on how to do this. So what I did was I gathered information and recommendations from various district leaders who were all kind of putting out some recommendations in different ways. And so I created a document where I gathered that information and then provided that to some task force leaders to share with their members. This information was laid out in a format that provided some guidance and some consistency across all content areas. So our secondary leaders had this document for each, and then within those content areas, they were able to differentiate for the needs of that particular content area. And then in moving forward, they shared this information with all of the teachers at the middle school and high school level in dealing with the continuous learning opportunities for students. And so what those parameters and expectations were. So I have some examples of those here that you can click on and see what those look like and what the task force had to work with when they decided and shared that information back out to all the teachers in the district. So let me get back to my portfolio here. So that was something that came up as a result of being in our pandemic. I have just a few minutes left to share. I had the opportunity to work with the leadership team on taking a look at a school culture survey and a workload survey and analyzing that data and kind of making some decisions and coming up with some ideas based on the survey results of next steps. So that was an awesome opportunity, and I always look forward to analyzing data and determining and advocating activities that will provide support for teachers and for students. And have that collaboration and respond to the needs of the community. These are all projects that I have presented in class, so I'll kind of jump over to this one. This is a Marzano Teacher Evaluation Observations with Feedback. This was an awesome opportunity that I had to join the district executive director and do some walkthroughs with some building principals at the middle school level and the high school level as they were coached and supported on the evaluation system and the feedback that they were given, as well as just do some non-evaluative walkthroughs with coaches and principals. So the focus of the classroom visit was to utilize the 10 Marzano elements that are a part of our district's evaluation system. And so I've included just kind of here is the teacher. This symbolizes the teacher teaching, and this symbolizes the collaboration and the conversation. And then the Marzano map here, this is all of the elements, but we only evaluate on 10. And so I have that here to show. And then I'll talk for just a few minutes on this one, this community external leadership. This was I call this the base leadership leaders retreat. I helped one of the leaders of this group called BASE, Better Academics for Social Excellence. Basically, it's an organization or club that identifies males of color who have demonstrated positive academics. Well, there's BASE leaders in each of the middle schools, and they engage their members in activities that will help lead to success, both academic and social. So I met with the leader of this organization to plan for a retreat to analyze, and we analyzed some of the data from the Council of Great City Schools and did some collaborative activities to help them kind of think about what their goals and activities that they wanted to do and focus on for this year would be. So that was a really great opportunity to meet with those leaders that are also in our schools. I had the opportunity to attend some Title I budget meetings, so I included that here for operations and management. That was an excellent opportunity. And I also have the opportunity to do some interviews for instructional coaches at the secondary level. So that really wraps it up for the activities that I'd like to share for each of those areas. I really have learned a lot, and this has been a very exciting process, and I'm very pleased with my ePortfolio and excited to move forward in my career and utilize all the knowledge and information that I have gained through the process. So thank you so much for everything. Thank you.